Chapter 471. This was a paradise that had never been cultivated before. There were flowers, grass, trees, streams, animals, and plants. The only thing that seemed to be lacking was popularity, and this problem would be perfectly solved when the game officially opened in a few days. Su Yayan looked at her reflection in the sparkling water of the stream. Her face was no different from reality, but the makeup on her face was provided by the system. She wore a delicate pink gauze dress, and her shoulder-length hair was tied into a simple bun with 2 hairpins. Although it was simple, it was very delicate. What made Su Yiyan most satisfied was that the female character in this game was not as revealing as the other game characters she had seen before. It was still acceptable. Ah, right, where's Chenhuan? Su Yiyan remembered that she had lost her husband. She recalled Hua Chenhuan's instructions before entering the game cabin. Don't panic when you enter the game. If we don't land in the same place, open the server list, or stay where you are and wait for me to find you. Su Yiyan searched for a while before she found the server list. She clicked on it and understood why Hua Chenhuan would be able to find her as long as she could find this. At that time, there were only 2 people in the game. One was herself, and the other was not using it. Of course, it was Hua Chenhuan. It was just that, Yanyan's Huanhuan. Su Yiyan read this name and could not help but laugh out loud. Her heart was as sweet as honey. They had clearly not agreed beforehand, but they had tacitly used a couple's name. Before Su Yiyan could take the initiative to contact the other party, Hua Chenhuan had already sent a message. Wait for me where you are. I'll come and find you. Su Yiyan did not know how he would find her, but she still chose to trust Hua Chenhuan unconditionally. She replied with an okay. Hua Chenhuan did not make her wait for long. After about 5 minutes, Su Yiyan heard a familiar voice behind her. Yan Yan. Su Yiyan subconsciously turned his head, but when he saw who it was, he froze in place. The person was dressed in a light blue brocade robe. His long hair, which was different from the real world, was tied up with a silver crown. He looked more scholarly than in the real world, familiar yet unfamiliar. However, the biggest difference between the person in front of him and the outside world was that he was standing in front of him with his legs upright. Yan Yan? You. Su Yiyan took a few steps forward, but she was a little uncertain. As if seeing her hesitation, Hua Chenhuan's eyes flickered. She smiled and said, Here, I am complete. That's right, he was complete here. Even if he hadn't been healed in the outside world, in this virtual holographic world, he was complete. He wasn't injured, he wasn't disabled, he was a complete person. Su Yiyan's eyes were slightly sore, and a bold guess suddenly appeared in her mind. Maybe after Hua Chenhuan's accident, he brought Zhua Yanbai and the others to establish such a company, dedicated to the development of various virtual products, all for this moment. In a sense, to make him a complete person again, without the slightest flaw. Su Yiyan's eyes were red. She quickly stepped forward and threw herself into the other's arms. She wanted to say something, but her tears fell first. Seeing this, Hua Chenhuan hugged her even tighter. He closed his eyes, and a rare look of satisfaction appeared on his face. Chapter 472. The 2 of them stood in that position for a while. Su Yiyan gradually calmed down, but her tears still flowed out uncontrollably. Hua Chenhuan's heart ached for her. She lifted her hand to wipe her tears while comforting her. All right. Don't cry. You won't look good if you keep crying. Su Yiyan hiccuped as she asked, If I cry in here, will it affect the outside world? Hua Chenhuan laughed. She was still worried about whether crying in here would affect the outside world. No. Everything that happens in the game, including the damage you receive, will not affect the outside world. Hua Chenhuan explained as she taught Su Yiyan step by step. The pain in the game can also be adjusted. It depends on your needs. Su Yiyan decisively adjusted her pain to 0. What's next? How do we play this game? First, choose a home. Through this home, you can choose the missions you need to complete in the future. Home? Yes. Hua Chenhuan held Su Yiyan's hand and tapped on the bottom right corner. Soon, an icon of a small house appeared. With a light tap, several holographic images of houses appeared. There was a small farmyard, a small European-style villa, a quaint courtyard house. There was a wide variety of houses. Su Yiyan's mouth instantly formed an O shape. Isn't this too human-like? Choose one that you like. Hua Chenhuan seemed to have thought of something after saying that. She smiled faintly and said, if you like all of them, you can change your choice. How do I change my choice? After choosing a home, you have to complete missions to enrich your home. Different homes have different missions. If you're tired of living in your home, or if you're tired of doing missions, you can also spend money to change your home. Then, after changing your home, will the things that you bought in this home still be there? Some can be kept, and some can't. Which ones can't? Those that are dropped after completing missions will disappear. Those that are bought with money won't. Su Yiyan instantly understood. Although they could change their home, those that they spent money on could be taken away. Those that they did not spend money on would disappear. To put it bluntly, they still had to choose carefully. It was one thing to lose if they changed. If they really wanted to decorate this house by playing games and doing quests together, every blade of grass, tree, brick, and tile in the future would be filled with their memories. At that time, even if she was asked to change, she would not be willing to do so. Then let's choose a farmhouse with a yard. We can plant trees and flowers in the yard. When the time comes, we can even raise 1 or 2 little cuties like Dun Dun. Yes. After Su Yiyan got the confirmation, she immediately selected the farmhouse and clicked on it. In an instant, a 2-story farmhouse appeared before the two of them. Su Yiyan pulled Hua Chenhuan and was about to walk inside, but was stopped by Hua Chenhuan. This is your home. I can't go in. Su Yiyan was dumbfounded. Then what should we do? Just invite me. Invitation? Yes, you invited me to live in your house. Hua Chenhuan's words carried a hint of ridicule. Su Yiyan understood what he was implying, and her face immediately turned red. Okay, I'll invite you to live in my house. Just as she finished speaking, the AI system automatically popped up a certificate according to her words, informing Hua Chenhuan that the owner of the house had agreed to let him in. Let's go. Okay. Su Yiyan followed him and took 2 steps forward. Then, as if she had thought of something, she suddenly stopped. Wait. What's? Hua Chenhuan turned to look at her. Before he could ask, Su Yiyan hugged him. Moreover, they were entangled in the octopus position. Hua Chenhuan? Chapter 473. Su Yiyan, on the other hand, was quite satisfied with this position. She giggled and explained, I've thought about this a long time ago. Once you've recovered and come to the company to pick me up, I'll rush out from the company to welcome you. I'll hang on you like this so that you won't be able to tear me off. This idea could only be realized when Hua Chenhuan stood up. Otherwise, he would be sitting in a wheelchair. Even if she wanted to hang on him, she would have to sit on his lap. There was no beauty to it. No, it would even add to his burden. Although it would add to his burden, it was definitely a sweet burden. Hua Chenhuan didn't know whether to laugh or cry after hearing her explanation. However, he was happy to fulfill her wish. He gently supported her back end but so that she could hang on him better. It was a farmhouse's courtyard. The courtyard was actually quite big, but it was currently bare. Other than a planned flower bed, there were no cherry blossoms inside. It was the same inside the house. It was a 2-story house with a living room, bedroom, and kitchen. However, the matching furniture could only be obtained by completing missions. The two walked around upstairs and downstairs and found 2 chairs, a table, and a simple wooden bed. Su Yiyan. Isn't this too shabby? With that thought, Su Yiyan's gaze subconsciously drifted to the bed. This game was quite realistic in all aspects. If they were to roll around in bed in this game, wouldn't it be? As soon as this thought appeared, Su Yiyen couldn't help but shudder. No, this was a proper game. How could they use it to do that kind of thing? If someone found out, wouldn't the entire game be censored? It was all Ling Xiaoqi's fault. Why did she send her that kind of thing? Now, her mind was filled with that kind of thing. Ling Xiaoqi, who silently took the blame. Who was she doing this for? Yan? Su Yiyen, who was blushing from her own imagination, suddenly heard Hua Qinhuan's voice. She jumped in fright as if she had a guilty conscience. What's wrong? Do you want to do a mission? Mission? Su Yiyen reacted quickly and shook his head. I won't do the mission today. I want to stay here with you for a while. Is that okay? It wasn't easy for them to come to a place where no one would disturb them. It was a world that belonged solely to the two of them. Moreover, in this world of the two of them, Hua Qinhuan's legs were still intact. She could walk freely without the help of any external force. Su Yiyen didn't want to go anywhere. She just wanted to stay in their home and be alone with Hua Qinhuan. Hua Qinhuan seemed to have seen through her thoughts. His eyes deepened as he held her hand tightly. They sat on the somewhat simple bed and looked out the window. This bedroom was on the second floor of the attic, facing the front yard. Looking down from the window, one could see the separated flower beds below. After we finish the mission, let's buy some seeds first. I want to plant vegetables in the ground. Planting vegetables? Hua Qinhuan was a little surprised. Aren't you planting flowers? I already have a courtyard full of flowers that you gave me. There's no need to plant any more. I want to plant some canola here, some lettuce there, and some radish there. When they're ripe, we can use them for hot pot. When the time comes, we'll build a shed next to it and raise some chickens, ducks, and sheep. Every time we harvest the vegetables, we'll raise some chickens. Chapter 474. Su Yiyen pointed at the small courtyard below and excitedly talked about her plans for the future. Her eyes were filled with anticipation and yearning for the future. This plan included her, him, and a home that belonged to them. Hua Qinhuan looked at the side of her face and felt that her entire body was glowing, and this glow belonged to him. Su Yiyen spoke for a long time and realized that the person beside her did not react at all. She stopped talking and turned to look at him in confusion. Are you listening? Before she could finish speaking, Hua Qinhuan kissed her. Su Yiyen's eyes narrowed, but she quickly relaxed and took the initiative to hug Hua Qinhuan's waist. She propped up a small pole and opened the window slightly. A ray of sunlight slipped into the room and sprinkled on the two people who were hugging each other. It was as if a layer of dense light had covered them, harmonious and warm. The next morning, Su Yiyen woke up early. She glanced at Hua Qinhuan, who was still sleeping next to her, and laughed foolishly. Although they did not do any missions last night, they still stayed in the game for a few hours. They only came out of the game late at night. As for what the two of them did in those few hours, naturally, everything was ready. They were only one step away. Su Yiyen guessed that the person beside her probably wanted their first time to be in real life, so they stopped at the last minute. Although it was a little regretful, Su Yiyen was still very happy to see Hua Qinhuan stand up and spend so much time with him in the game. Su Yiyen giggled and leaned over to steal a kiss on Hua Qinhuan's lips. She quickly got up from the bed and prepared to cook a delicious meal to reward herself and share her joy with the others. However, she did not expect that the second she left the bedroom, the person who was originally lying on the bed slowly opened his eyes. Looking at the door that had just closed, she reached out and touched the place where she had been kissed. Her clear eyes didn't have the slightest bit of sleepiness and confusion from just waking up. Young madam, why are you up so early today? Uncle Zhang was surprised to see Su Yiyen coming down from upstairs. I want to cook a few more dishes today, so I woke up earlier. Are the chefs at home awake? Su Yiyen was referring to a few chefs. Previously, they had restored the egg tarts and buns that she had made before. Moreover, they had restored the taste of the egg tarts and buns by 70 to 80%. Presumably, they were quite capable. I'm up. I'm preparing breakfast for young master and young madam. I have a lot of things to do today. I'm afraid I won't be able to do it alone. Help me ask around and see if anyone is willing to help. Uncle Zhang's eyes lit up as he nodded with a smile. All right, I'll go ask them now. Su Yiyen thought that it would be good enough if Uncle Zhang could call one over for her. Unexpectedly, other than a chef who was not feeling well and had asked for leave, the other chefs who were still at home all rushed over. When these chefs heard that the young madam wanted them to help cook, they rushed over without thinking. They were afraid that if they were a step late, Su Yiyen would have enough people on her side and not bring them along. There were a total of 3 chefs who came, 2 women and 1 man. They were all in their 30s or 40s. They looked at Su Yiyen with burning and bright eyes, as if they wanted to swallow her alive. Su Yiyen was scared by their gazes. She coughed lightly and said, Uncle Zhang should have told you all, right? I have a lot of things to do today, so I want to ask for your help. Chapter 475. The 3 of them looked at each other and said uneasily, yes, but aren't you afraid that we'll steal what you've made? Su Yiyen didn't answer directly. Instead, she smiled and asked them a question. Have you watched my live stream? Yes. At first, they were curious and wanted to know what this new young master liked so that it would be easier for them to watch when they were cooking. They didn't expect to fall into a pit and couldn't climb out. They were embarrassed. They had watched Su Yiyen's live stream recordings, but some of the materials were only available in her shop, so they couldn't try to recreate it themselves. Since I'm willing to live stream for strangers to watch, it means that I'm not afraid of people copying. I don't care how much you can learn from the live stream. If you learn anything, it's yours. In the same way, you guys can help me out later. Whatever you learn will be yours. The 3 of them were shocked. They couldn't believe that there was such a thing as a free lunch in this world. If there aren't any other questions, let's start cooking. It's getting late. If we delay any longer, I'm afraid that breakfast will become lunch. Su Yiyen seemed to have thought of something. I'll start a live stream in a bit. If you help, you'll probably be filmed. But don't worry, it won't show your faces. Do you mind? The 3 of them seemed to wake up from a dream and hurriedly shook their heads. We don't mind, we don't mind. As long as they could watch from a close distance, so what if their faces were shown? Plus, they wouldn't show their faces. Okay then. What are you good at? I'm good at cooking. I'm good at making soup and porridge. I'm good at making desserts. Desserts? Su Yiyen was suddenly interested. You made those buns and egg tarts? The one who knew how to make desserts was a female chef. When she heard Su Yiyen's words, she froze and said embarrassedly, yes. The young master liked the egg tarts and buns that the young madam made before, so I asked Mr. Yu to ask you how to make them. I tried making them myself, but they didn't taste as good as the young madam's. Steamed Bun had learned from the live stream. When Su Yiyen made the egg tarts, she didn't live stream them. They really didn't know how to make them, so they could only try asking Yu Zian for help. Originally, she didn't have much hope, but she didn't expect this young man to be so generous and send her a copy of the recipe. You're too modest. I've tasted your cooking and it's delicious. Since you know how to make desserts, it will be much easier. Today, we'll boil 2 soups and 2 porridge. After that, we'll make some pasta, and dumplings. Young madam, you can make the arrangements. We will listen to your orders. Let's do it. Su Yiyen swiftly assigned tasks to the few of them and opened the live broadcast room. The early bird gets the worm. The host is live streaming. Why did the streamer start a live broadcast at this time? Don't you usually broadcast at night? Su Yiyen looked at the comments that flashed through her live broadcast room from time to time. She did not expect that there would be so many people squatting in her live broadcast room on the morning of the holiday. I usually have to go to work, so I don't have much time in the morning. There isn't much I can do, so I usually broadcast at night. Today is the weekend, so I don't have to go to work. I wanted to make a few more desserts to try, so I woke up early. Why are you guys up so early? I thought there wouldn't be many people in the live broadcast room since it's so early. Chapter 476. As soon as Su Yiyen said that, the audience in the live stream room became complacent. Ha ha ha, I haven't gotten up yet. I'm lazing in bed. I originally planned to sleep until noon, but when I heard the live stream room's notification, I didn't know why I woke up immediately. I'm now watching the live stream in bed. For the sake of my hard work, the streamer must pick me today. The times are calling. The live stream is calling. How can I not come? It's obviously the food that's calling. I've seen through you long ago. Pfft. Every time Su Yiyen saw these cute internal arguments, she couldn't help but want to smile like an ant. I've made more things today, so there will be more things to participate in the lucky draw later. Everyone, remember to participate enthusiastically. As soon as Su Yiyen said that, the audience in the live stream room was very happy. He, I like it when the live stream host suddenly starts a live stream. It's early in the morning, so there won't be many people. Does this mean that my chances of winning the lucky draw can also be increased? What are you daydreaming about? Look at the number of people online in the live stream room. You want to take advantage of the opportunity to win early? No way. With this number of people, I can only say that the live stream and food have a great charm. In just a few minutes, the number of viewers in Su Yiyen's live stream room had soared to 7 digits. She directly occupied the throne of the real-time live stream host's popularity. The early risers who originally wanted to take advantage of the opportunity before most people reacted were heartbroken. They spontaneously began to fill the bullet screen with all kinds of heartbroken emojis. Then, another audience member seemed to have discovered something and asked mysteriously. The live stream host seems to be very happy today. Her voice is a little floaty. Did something good happen? Su Yiyen was stunned when she saw this message. Even though she knew that they couldn't see her, she subconsciously touched her face and said embarrassedly, "Is it that obvious?" "It's very obvious." Ha ha ha, actually, I just thought about it. The live stream host's tone today is exceptionally gentle. Of course, I'm not saying that the live stream host is not usually kind, it's just sweet. This audience member's desire to live was quite high. The other audience members in the live stream room understood immediately when they heard the word sweet. I'm guessing that the live stream host's mood today has something to do with her husband. What are you guessing for? It must have something to do with my husband. According to my experience of watching the streamer's live broadcast for so long, 99% of the daily emotional changes of the streamer are related to the streamer's husband. What about the remaining 1%? Is it related to keyboard warriors and anti-fans? Nothing wrong with that. Why is the scene of a sunflower revolving around its sun automatically appearing in my mind when I hear the comment above? Wah, it's another day of crying over someone else's beautiful love. Su Yiyen looked at the screen that was filled with discussions. Inexplicably, she felt ashamed and annoyed that her thoughts had been exposed. She blushed slightly and said to the 3 kitchen helpers not far away, "The stewing time is longer. We'll stew the soup first. Come and help us." Su Yiyen waved at the female chef who was good at making soup and porridge. The female chef took a few steps forward and soon entered the scene. There seems to be someone else on the streamer's side. Who is it? It's the chefs at home. There are a lot of things to cook today, and the quantity is also large. I can't handle it alone, so I want to ask them to help me. Chapter 477. Am I the only one who noticed the streamer's several chefs? A few, not one, but a few. Wow, the streamer's family is really rich. She can actually afford to hire so many chefs. People like me who can't even afford to hire a single chef. No, I'm a poor person who can't even afford to eat in a high-class restaurant. I'm jealous when I look at other people's chefs. Of course, there were also some people who didn't quite understand. The streamer's cooking skills are so good. Why does she still need to hire chefs? Good cooking skills don't necessarily mean that she cooks all the time. If I had the streamer's family background and so much money, I would be too lazy to cook. Wouldn't it be better to eat ready-made food at home? This reason really made people unable to refute. Su Yiyen looked up and saw the screen full of people who were envious of her chef's sour lemons. She smiled and said, "Today, I'm going to make 2 types of chicken soup. One is suitable for girls who are physically weak, and the other is Codonopsis angelica chicken soup for middle-aged and elderly people. Shredded chicken is a good tonic in spring. Add Codonopsis angelica, red dates, and stew it together. In addition to nourishing blood and promoting blood circulation, it also has the effect of regulating menstruation and reducing excess." As Su Yiyen spoke, she cut half of the chicken into pieces and soaked them in water. Then, she put them together with other ingredients into the casserole to stew. Hua Chenhuan, who had just finished washing up and opened the live broadcast room, heard this sentence. Chicken soup for girls, middle-aged and elderly people? Excluding girls, only middle-aged and elderly people were left. Was his wife beating around the bush to think that he was old? Fortunately, in the next second, he heard Su Yiyen say, "The other type of chicken soup is yam stew chicken soup. Yam nourishes the kidney, and when paired with chicken and carrot stew, it's suitable for men to eat in spring. It also has an obvious effect on some men's symptoms of kidney deficiency and seminal emission." Hua Chenhuan. Kidney deficiency? Seminal emission? As soon as she finished speaking, many viewers in the live broadcast room looked at the 2 types of soup in a different way. The old viewers who had watched Su Yiyen's live broadcast and the customers who had eaten in her restaurant knew that the streamer didn't lie. If she was useful, then it must be useful. Help me watch the fire. I've already put in the carrots and chicken. When the water comes to a boil, simmer for 15 minutes. After that, add the yam and stew quickly. The female chef's eyes lit up. In order to make the soup taste good, the heat control was also a key factor. Although Su Yiyen would tell them how to cook it during the live broadcast, he did not go into detail about how to cook it and how long to cook it for. Other than wanting her to watch the fire, he was also trying to give her some pointers. Okay, I'll keep an eye on it. Since someone was watching over the soup, Su Yiyen called for the male chef who knew how to stir-fry ingredients. Can you make pancakes? Pancakes? Su Yiyen saw that he was a little confused, so he smiled faintly and said, "It doesn't matter if you don't know how. It's similar to cooking, and it's easy to operate. I'll give you a demonstration later. If it works, why don't you do it?" All right. Su Yiyen was preparing to make fried shredded potato egg pancakes and scallion pancakes. The fried shredded potato egg pancakes were easy to make. Cut the potatoes into shreds and cut the bacon into pieces. Then, add flour, egg, chicken powder, and chopped green onions to form a paste. Place it in the pan and fry it until both sides were cooked. The reason why pancakes could become one of the most popular foods on the streets was because once it was cooked, the aroma would spread for 10 miles, making passers-by drool. Su Yiyen demonstrated to the male chef once, and the entire live broadcast room was enveloped in the smell of fried oil. Zheng. Chapter 478. Sob, 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 it's so early in the morning. It's simply torture for me to smell this kind of smell. Gugugu, gugugu, can you hear my stomach growling? I'm almost out of breath. Hurry up and bring the host's omelette to me. He, this omelette seems quite simple when the host makes it. I think I can give it a try. I've already placed an order for potato flour and eggs. Sisters, wait for my good news. Hands, no, you can't. Ha, I advise the person above not to be impulsive. Watching the host make things seem very simple, but that's just an illusion. When it's in your hands, it might not be so simple. For those who are itching to do it yourself, I advise you to look at the fish that died with their eyes wide open in the comments section. Deep. JPG, Su Yiyen had made fish several times before. Steaming, braising, boiling, and even making soup. It was precisely because the fish she fried was golden and crispy on the outside and tender on the inside that some viewers couldn't hold back their desire to eat after watching her cooking. They also bought fish and fried it themselves. As one could imagine, 99% of the people who bought it failed. The remaining 1% couldn't even protect their own kitchens. As a result, the comments section during that period could be seen from time to time with the horrifying scene of the fish that died with their eyes wide open. While the few of them were joking around, Su Yiyen had already finished making the first fried potato omelette. The thin potato shreds and bacon could be clearly seen on the round omelette. It looked especially crispy, and it was even more so when one bit into it. This taste is amazing. It's crispy and crispy. The more you eat it, the more addictive it is. Crunch crunch. Eating this is really addictive. I think I can eat a few pieces of this size by myself. Is it so delicious when the potato shreds, bacon, and eggs are mixed together? I think I can do it too. Calm down, calm down. The potato shreds are fine. Look at the official price of the bacon. You'll understand why the audience above only bought potatoes, eggs, and flour. These people, who drank light nutrient fluids all year round, didn't care about eating oily fried food for breakfast. They couldn't wait to eat the egg pancake to their heart's content. It would be even better if they could have some wine. Hua Chenhuan looked at the messages that kept flashing across the screen. Suddenly, she felt a little hungry. Her eyebrows furrowed slightly and then relaxed. She turned her wheelchair and went downstairs. Is there anything you don't understand after reading it once? If not, you can try it yourself. It doesn't matter if you fry more. If you can't finish it, you can give it to others. Su Yiyen was busy checking on the male chef's learning progress when she suddenly heard a familiar low voice from outside. Yen Yen? The string of comments that were originally really busy praising the egg pancake seemed to be stuck. It went blank for 2 seconds before it exploded like a blowout. Was that the voice of the host's husband? Ah, this is the subwoofer of my dreams. I love this voice. A sexy subwoofer with a clear and mature voice. The host and her husband's voices are my cup of tea. It's such a waste not to use them as voice actresses. The host's voice is so nice. Even her husband's voice is so nice. If there was a man who used this voice to say goodnight to me every night, I definitely wouldn't have insomnia anymore. Hey, I'm in the kitchen. Su Yiyen didn't care how infatuated this group of people were with her male voice. She responded and ran out. After running a few steps, she seemed to have thought of something. She hurriedly turned back and took the plate of freshly fried egg pancakes away. Chapter 479. Wait, she took it away? Hey. Streamer, where are you going? Leave the pancakes for us. Panicked Air Kong hand. JPG, host, you can look for your husband, but don't take the pancakes with you, host. Sob. I only took 2 bites and was still savoring the aftertaste, but the pancake is gone in the blink of an eye. Give my pancakes back, give them back. It was impossible to give them back. The male chef, who was left behind to inspect the results, cut the shredded potatoes with an indifferent expression. From time to time, he would raise his head to look at the bullet screen that flashed past with disdain. How could the young madam return the pancakes that she gave to their young master? How naive. The audience cried for a while before they calmed down with the sound of the male chef cutting vegetables. They looked at the male chef who replaced Su Yiyen in the center position and were both amused and angry. Sob. Host, come back. We want a cute little sweetheart, not a big guy who picks his feet. The male chef. This personal attack was too much. He never picks his feet. This is a yin-yang small kitchen. How can it be called a yin-yang small kitchen without a yin-yang? Report the host for skipping work during the live broadcast to date, and even let someone take her place. Dog head, host, come back. I can't bear it alone. Air Kong hand. JPG, the male chef. Were all young people nowadays so good at acting? Su Yiyen, who was in a hurry to run out to see her husband, did not know that these audience members were good at acting. Even when she was not around, they could howl very sincerely. Holding the plate of freshly fried egg pancakes, Su Yiyen skipped over to Hua Chenhuan. Why are you up so early? I smelled the aroma of your cooking, so I got up. Su Yiyen blinked and was a little confused. Were the pancakes so fragrant? Could they float all the way from the first floor to their bedroom on the second floor? Fortunately, this question did not make her struggle for too long. Are you hungry? I just fried an egg pancake and it's still warm. Eat it while it's still hot. There will be other delicious food later. Okay. Hua Chenhuan took the plate. Su Yiyen remembered that the live broadcast was still going on, so she turned around to go back. Wait. Su Yiyen was stunned. What's wrong? She turned around and a piece of sliced egg pancake appeared in front of her. Have a piece first. Knowing that the man was worried about her cooking on an empty stomach, Su Yiyen opened her mouth and took a bite of the egg pancake. After chewing it, she didn't forget to express her thoughts. It's crispy and not salty at all. Take your time, I'll go back first. Yes. After watching Su Yiyen enter the small kitchen, Hua Chenhuan entered the live broadcast room unhurriedly. She picked up a piece of egg pancake and put it in her mouth. Looking at the screen full of mournful wails, he raised his eyebrows in a good mood. When Su Yiyen returned to the live broadcast room, it was inevitable that the screen was filled with questions that came directly from the soul. The host is back. Where's our pie? Where's the pancake? Where's the pancake? The host is back, but the pancake is gone. Crying, host, is the man who just spoke your husband? Did you give your pancake to him? Do you still need to ask? It must be. Host, do you still remember the Little Cuties by Daming Lake? You actually gave up on us little cuties and gave the egg pancake to a dog man outside. I can't accept this. That's not a dog man. That's the host's husband. Wah, I cried so loudly that it scared my mom. Su Yiyen. Chapter 480. Su Yiyen was shocked by the dramatic performance of the audience. She coughed lightly and explained, "It's my husband. I was afraid that he would get hungry early, so I sent some over first. Cold dog food slap in the face, sad person don't come back, there's something wrong with the person above." I almost sang it. Host, you only think about your husband being hungry, but don't you think about us being hungry too? I'm sad. I need a kiss and a hug from the host. Su Yiyen saw this comment and said without thinking, "Of course my husband is more important." Heartbroken. JPG, I can't kiss and hug you. My husband will be jealous. I'm autistic. I'm not a fan for a minute. Su Yiyen touched her nose guiltily and pretended that nothing had happened. She said, "Okay, let's see how he's doing." At this time, the male chef had already made the egg paste according to Su Yiyen's previous method and was about to pour it into the pot. When he heard Su Yiyen's words, his hand trembled and he almost poured the bowl of egg paste into the pot. Lower the heat. You need to be patient when frying this. Lower the heat and take it slow. Otherwise, it will burn easily. It had to be said that those who were invited to be private chefs at home had some skills. When the egg pancake was done, only the edges were left. He didn't control the heat well, so a small piece was black. Everything else was fine. The male chef naturally noticed this and he looked a little embarrassed. Su Yiyen felt that he was already very good. She said affirmatively, "It's your first time making it like this. It's already very good. Keep up the good work." After saying that, she left him alone to slowly fumble around. She turned to the female chef who said that she made snacks before to make snacks. "First, let's knead some dough. The dough takes a long time to ferment, so we have to prepare all the dough that will be used today in advance." Su Yiyen took out all kinds of rice noodles as she spoke. "Today, we will make a total of 3 kinds of pastries. One is the flowering mantou, one is the mandarin duck dumplings, and the last one is the flour wonton. The dough for the flowering mantou needs to be fermented, so let's knead the dough first." The so-called blossoming mantou was nothing more than a combination of different flavors of dough stacked together, allowing a mantou to have several flavors. Then, a little trick was used to make the mantou more colorful and beautiful. Su Yiyen used spinach juice, pumpkin, and purple sweet potato as ingredients. The spinach juice could dye the white dough green, the pumpkin juice could dye the white dough yellow, and the purple sweet potato was purple. Su Yiyen planned to make a lot of these steamed buns at once. Naturally, he needed a lot of raw materials. The dough that he needed could be said to be quite huge. She and the other female chef had limited strength. In the end, they had to ask the male chef who was busy making pancakes for help before they finally finished kneading the dough. When the audience saw this scene, they had already burst into laughter. "I've watched the live stream for so long, but this is the first time I've seen the streamer in such a sorry state. Her hands must be sore by the end of the massage. Ha ha ha, I'm used to seeing the host's omnipotent look. Although I feel a little distressed, I still want to laugh. Sorry, I usually don't laugh easily unless I can't hold it in. Ha 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 ha, logically speaking, these dough balls are so big. They should be even bigger after fermenting. Is the host preparing to make a lot of food?" Starry-eyed. Chapter 481. Su Yiyen relaxed her wrist for a while before feeling better. When she saw the message, she smiled faintly and said, "Yes, I need to make more." The audience was overjoyed, thinking that the extra things were prepared for them. "Does that mean that we can have a few more slots for the lucky draw later?" The winning rate has finally increased. Before the audience could finish their excitement, Su Yiyen poured a bucket of cold water on them. "That's not it. These are benefits for the employees who are still working hard today." Many of the expectant audience felt as if their hearts were pierced by thousands of arrows. Some of the new audience members were a little confused. Did I go to the wrong place? Is this really a live broadcast room? Aren't anchors generally very kind to the audience, or even to please the audience? Why is this anchor not only not pleasing the fans, but also pouring cold water on us? What was even more frightening was that there were still so many audience members who did not turn from fans to haters and did not leave the live broadcast room after being humiliated so rudely. The old audience members were also very helpless. They were angry and amused at the same time, but they could not lose their temper at their beloved anchor. Of course I chose to forgive her. Otherwise, what else can I do? I can see that the anchor is really happy today. She is a little floating. Sob, sob, sob. When I think of the anchor's subwoofer husband, I feel like crying. I also want to have a subwoofer husband who says he loves me affectionately every day, then kisses and hugs me high up. If the employees in the restaurant are little cuties, aren't we little cuties too? Please ask if the anchor's restaurant is still hiring people, the kind who went to college and can write programs. The audience in the live broadcast room naturally thought that the employees Su Yiyen mentioned were the ones in her medicinal cuisine restaurant. They decisively began to recommend themselves on the spot. Little did they know that the medicinal cuisine restaurant was closed today and was not open at all. However, when Su Yiyen saw this message, her mind suddenly recalled the joke that Hu Chenhuan had made not long ago. Her eyes turned, and she jokingly said, "Okay, I'll be hiring people in the next 1 or 2 months. Those who can write programs will be priority." The audience member was just joking. He did not expect to be seen by Su Yiyen and get a response. In a split second, some programmers who thought they were capable were overjoyed. They kept asking, "Is it true? When will the recruitment begin?" As soon as Hua Chenhuan heard Su Yiyan's words, she knew what she meant. She found it funny and complicated at the same time. He never thought that there would be a day when he would have to rely on his wife. However, this feeling wasn't bad. Some people who were skilled in this area were happy, but those who had not studied this area were sad. You are about to lose your cute baby. JPG, you are about to lose your cute baby. JPG, Su Yiyan really wanted to laugh when she saw the emoticons all over the screen. Fortunately, these people's attention was quickly attracted by the thing in Su Yiyan's hands. After kneading the dough, Su Yiyan immediately began to make the dumplings. In order to make the dumplings look more beautiful, Su Yiyan used clear noodles and cornstarch. This kind of noodles is called shengmian. Only after boiling it with corn flour and stirring it with boiling water can it become a crystal clear paste. The appearance of the steamed dumplings is as crystal clear as gauze. Shengmian? I've never heard of it. What's cornstarch? Why does the streamer always have some strange things? It should be something that only chefs know. I did a search, and there are indeed such things. It's just that we don't know about it. If I didn't watch the anchor's live broadcast, I wouldn't know that there are so many kinds of flour. Chapter 482. This statement was supported by many people. Most people did not cook their own food. Even if they wanted to eat these things, they would go to high-end restaurants outside. What they ate were all finished products. How would they know what these things were made of? After kneading the dough, Su Yiyan began to roll the dumpling skin. After rolling a few, she handed the job over to the female chef. She went to the side to prepare the stuffing. The stuffing of these dumplings did not have a fixed formula. It was basically chosen according to one's personal taste. Su Yiyan chose a few dishes that she and Hua Chenhuan liked. She shredded and minced them. Her movements were neat and tidy. In just a moment, the small pile of vegetables became a bowl of hua green stuffing. Not to mention the audience in the live broadcast room, even the few people who were busy cooking in the room could not help but be attracted by Su Yiyan's chopping movements. Although there were not many chefs in this era, the family that could afford to hire a chef would not be too bad. Generally speaking, the kitchen would be equipped with some simple tools necessary for a chef. The vegetable cutting machine was one of them. Because of this, many chefs' knife skills were not particularly good. Take the male chef who was assigned to fry the shredded potatoes for example. If he had not seen Su Yiyan cut the shredded potatoes herself, he would not have wanted to try cutting them himself. However, after cutting for a while, he finally faced up to the differences between himself and Su Yiyan. He threw the potato pieces of different thickness into the vegetable cutting machine. People would always have a subtle sense of envy and worship when they could not do something that others could do. That was how the few people in the live broadcast room and many people in the live broadcast room felt. Su Yiyan did not know about this. After making the stuffing, she and the female chef began to make the dumplings. One of the major characteristics of Mandarin duck dumplings was its shape. After the stuffing in the bag was closed, it was pinched tightly from the middle. Then, it was pinched along the sides to the middle. When the sides were pinched again, it would become a small dumpling with concave folds. It was a little like xiaomai. Many people did not even see Su Yiyan's movements clearly. A small dumpling had already appeared in front of them. An army of question marks once again occupied the entire screen. Similarly, the female chef sitting opposite Su Yiyan was also dumbfounded. Su Yiyan also noticed this. He coughed lightly and said, "I wrapped it too quickly just now. This time, I'll wrap it slower. First like this, then like this." The second time, Su Yiyan's wrapping speed was much slower. The female chef saw it clearly, but she was still not very familiar with it. After that, Su Yiyan demonstrated a few more times before the female chef was finally able to make a finished dumpling. However, the shape was still a bit unsightly. The female chef was quite embarrassed. She was clearly a professional who had been specially hired, but in the end, her cooking skills were not as good as the lady boss's. She was really a little depressed. Today was destined to be a day of frustration for these people. Out of curiosity, many viewers in the live streaming channel imitated Su Yiyan and tried to create a few balls. However, all of them failed. Once again, it proves the previous sentence. The streamer's seemingly simple production techniques are really deadly in our hands. Just now, when I tried to imitate the streamer's movements, I almost twisted my hand. Now, my hand has turned into a chicken's claw and I can't break it. There are some things that the streamer does that are pleasing to the eye. When I try to do it, I'm just scratching my claw and becoming depressed. Chapter 483. Su Yiyan could not help but chuckle out loud when she heard the phrase, chicken claw blind. The female chef carefully observed Su Yiyan's movements. After practicing more than 10 times, she gradually became familiar with it. Although she wasn't as fast as Su Yiyan, the things she made weren't as horrible as before. The two of them made a lot of dumplings at the fastest speed and then began to make small wontons. Compared to Mandarin duck dumplings, wontons were much simpler. They just needed to be pinched and wouldn't fall apart. By the time the two of them finished making small wontons and dumplings, the dough was almost fermented. This is spinach dough, this is pumpkin dough, and this is purple potato dough, Su Yiyan said as he took out a dough each. Two were rolled into skin, one was kneaded into a ball, and the other was wrapped into the dough. The dough was kneaded into the shape of a steamed bun. Then, he used a knife to draw a cross on the steamed bun. There are 3 flavors of dough. You can choose which one to wrap on the outside and which one to wrap on the inside. Actually, you can choose other ingredients, but I suggest you choose ingredients with brighter colors. That way, it will look better when steamed. The steamed bun was easy to make. The female chef was slightly relieved. At least she had regained some confidence as a chef. The dumplings were steamed one by one, and the wontons were boiled in water. By the time the flouring mantus were almost done, the two of them had finished making the soup. The first 2 soups that the female chef was watching were almost done. Su Yiyan asked someone to steam some steamed buns while she taught the female chef who was watching the soup to make 2 types of porridge. The moment everything was cooked, the entire kitchen was filled with the sweet aroma of the soup and porridge. After waiting for so long, it was all worth it. The taste of this chicken soup is amazing. It's not oily or fishy, and the taste is mellow. It's slightly sweet, but it's not too sweet. I feel warm all over after drinking it. I prefer the yum chicken soup. The taste isn't so complicated, and the chicken is delicious. I like this small wonton. The skin is thin and the ingredients are especially good. The taste of the soup is completely different from the pan-fried one. It's super delicious. I really don't know how the streamer's brain works. Not only is the food delicious, but she can also come up with so many different ways to eat it. Upstairs, pay attention to your technique when praising people. At first glance, I thought you were scolding the streamer, laughing emoji. But if we're talking about thin skin, shouldn't the Mandarin duck dumpling have the thinnest skin? This is the first time I've seen such a transparent skin. In the words of the host, it's sparkling and translucent. Looking at it, my maiden heart surged. I want to bring it home and worship it. Is there no one who likes the blossoming mantu? It seems to be quite easy to make, and the finished product is super beautiful. Layer by layer, the color is bright, and it's soft when bitten. It's super delicious. The so-called blossoming steamed bun was a blossoming steamed bun with a cross-shaped knife. After it was steamed, it would expand further and blossom into a flower-like shape, allowing people to see the layers of different colored dough inside. Although this kind of steamed bun didn't have a dent, it had a lot of different flavors and was rich in layers. Once bitten, there was a variety of flavors. The taste didn't lose out to those stuffed buns at all. Su Yiyan saw that although there were some differences in the comments on the bullet screen, they were generally harmonious and rational. She smiled faintly and finished the last few lucky draws. Then, she happily ran out to find her husband for breakfast. Chapter 484. When Su Yiyen put away her apron and came out of the kitchen, she found that everything on the table was still intact. Except for the egg pancake she took out at the beginning, everything else was basically untouched. Why don't you eat? It's so late. Aren't you hungry? I'm waiting for you, Hua Chenhuan said and waved to Su Yiyen, asking her to come to his side. What's wrong? Su Yiyen came to him in confusion. As soon as she finished speaking, her hand was held. His slender fingers rested on her wrist and gently rubbed it, helping her relieve the soreness and fatigue caused by excessive work. Are you happy today? Yes. Su Yiyen did not hide her joy. I made a lot of delicious food today. We can't finish it by ourselves. Let's send some to my mother and Xiaoyang's company. Hua Chenhuan's hands paused slightly. For the people of Xiaoyang's company? Su Yiyen nodded. The employees of their company are still working today, right? Fantasy Feast would be released in 2 days. Therefore, even on the weekend, the employees of Gu Xiaoyang's company were still working overtime to make the final push. They work so hard to make money for us. As their boss's wife, I should give them some benefits to thank them, right? Just because of this? Of course, it was not just because of this. The reason why Su Yiyen got up early in the morning to make so many things to send them was mainly because the game world that allowed Hua Chenhuan to temporarily enjoy the experience of standing on 2 legs was created by them. Even though the idea was originally proposed by Hua Chenhuan, they just followed the request of their boss and restored that world. But reasonably, Su Yiyen still wanted to do something to thank them. Did you just ask several chefs to help you? Yes, it's too time-consuming and troublesome for me to do it alone. It's probably noon when I finished. Hua Chenhuan thought for a moment and asked in a low voice. The audience in the live broadcast room didn't say anything, right? He got up late today and missed a small part of Su Yiyen's live broadcast. He did not know if any of the chefs deliberately made a fuss when they entered the live broadcast room. Although Yu Zian almost sent people to guard Su Yiyen's live broadcast room, Hua Chenhuan was still afraid that Su Yiyen would be wronged if he did not keep watch. The audience in the live broadcast room? No. What could they say? Su Yiyen rolled her eyes and suddenly thought of something. She chuckled softly. Speaking of which, there's a super cute girl in my live streaming room. The expression on Hua Chenhuan's face suddenly froze. Housekeeper, sister. President Hua, who was used to keeping a straight face even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of him, felt dizzy when he heard this. After some time, he asked with difficulty. How do you know she's a girl? Su Yiyen blinked innocently. He said so himself. Hua Jinyao, who had shot himself in the foot. Hua Chenhuan went quiet for some time before he finally found his voice. He frowned and said, there are all kinds of people online. What they say might not be true. Su Yiyen had already sat down opposite him. She rested her chin on one hand and looked at him ambiguously. Are you saying that you think he's lying to me? Chapter 485. Hua Liar Chenhuan, who realized that he had jumped from one pit to another, was speechless. Ahem. Hua Chenhuan guiltily avoided Su Yiyen's eyes, not daring to look into her eyes. You can't let your guard down. He might not be lying to you, but you still have to be on your guard. Su Yiyen seemed to be convinced and nodded. Then, she seemed to think of something and chuckled. But the website has changed. Online users have to use their real gender. I looked at his gender column, and it's indeed a girl. Hua Chenhuan's body stiffened again when he heard that. He had deliberately changed that name in order to protect his identity. He didn't expect that it would become his death sentence. Maybe I'm overthinking. Hua Chenhuan was defeated and silently gave up. Su Yiyen stared at his side profile and smiled. she suddenly felt that it was quite fun to scare him occasionally. When Su Yiyan and Hua Jinyao were eating breakfast, the steamed buns, wonton dumplings, and pancakes made by the male chef had already been packed and sent to Gu Xiaoyang's employees. Some Chinese herbs were added to the porridge and soup. In order to avoid unsuitable food for some people, they didn't prepare much and only prepared a portion for home use. Even so, Gu Xiaoyang was dumbfounded when he received the big gift personally delivered by Uncle Zhang. As the person in charge of Fantasy Feast, he was working overtime today and missed Su Yiyan's live broadcast. He didn't know that these things were prepared for the employees who worked overtime over the weekend. Yu Zian and Hua Jinyao knew, but they thought that Su Yiyan was referring to the people in the medicinal cuisine restaurant. Young madam said that you worked overtime over the weekend and didn't know if you had a good meal. She asked me to send you some food. I don't know if it's to your taste, but just make do with it. Gu Xiaoyang looked at the exquisite pastries and rows of wonton soup in the box and thought that if this was considered making do with it, then what they had before was probably pig's feed. Of course. Everyone in the company knows that young madam's cooking is top-notch. If I had known that working overtime would bring me such good luck, I would have let those bastards in the company take over the company. Please go back and thank young madam for her concern for our employees. I will distribute these things to the employees as soon as possible. I'll have to trouble you then. It's no trouble. After sending Uncle Zhang off, Gu Xiaoyang immediately took out his mobile phone and took a 360-degree picture of the spectacular pile of food in front of him. After he took the picture, he sent a picture to the companies to send people to help. The other one was sent to the small group of 3 to show off, tactfully. Young madam personally made the overtime meal. Today's unexpected surprise, Zhua Yanbai. Yu Zian. The two people in the group sent several shocked emojis. In the end, Yu Zian was the first to ask, why? Why did you all get the free meal made by young madam? Only I didn't get it. Gu Xiaoyang immediately said, I'll save a share for you. Yu Zian replied immediately, good brother. I'll go now. Zhua Yanbai looked at the rich food in the picture and was a little tempted, then I'll also, there's no share for you. Get out. Zhua Yanbai. This plastic brotherly relationship really broke just like that. Chapter 486. What happened in the game kept Su Yiyan in a good mood for several days. So much so that on the morning she returned to work in Dongqing, she still talked to Hua Chenhuan about his legs. Kiss me at work, Mua. Su Yiyan quickly leaned over and kissed him when he wasn't paying attention. Do your rehabilitation at home. I'm waiting for the day when you can stand in front of me. Hua Chenhuan had long been used to her sneak attacks. He said indifferently, can't wait? Of course. Although she had seen Hua Chenhuan stand up in the game, the virtual world was still a little different from reality. In comparison, she still hoped to see Hua Chenhuan completely recover in reality. Can't wait to see me stand up as soon as possible, or can't wait to have a fat baby with me as soon as possible? Su Yiyan was stunned and muttered in a low voice, how do you know it must be a fat baby and not a girl? Hua Chenhuan's eyes lit up slightly. A girl is good. I like a girl. So, it's the second kind? Su Yiyan snorted coldly. Can't it be both? After saying that, she turned around and got into the car without waiting for Hua Chenhuan's reaction. Hua Chenhuan looked at her back as she fled. The corners of his mouth were slightly raised, but his eyes became inexplicably dangerous. Su Yiyan ran to work in high spirits. As soon as she got out of the car, she saw several groups of reporters squatting not far away. At first, she didn't pay much attention to them. She thought that these reporters were invited by an artist in the company to do publicity. Unexpectedly, as soon as she got out of the car and walked inside, the group of people suddenly moved and quickly surrounded her. Su Yiyan was shocked, and a sense of foreboding rose in her heart. Sure enough, the group of people's goal was very clear. They surrounded her in the blink of an eye. Miss Su, Dongqing used to be your brother's company. You suddenly took over Dongqing. What's your brother's attitude? Miss Sue, it's rumored on the internet that your husband is your ex-fiancé's uncle. May I know when you two confirmed your relationship? Miss Sue, about the rumors about you and your company's artist, Luo Weebing, is it true that it's just a groundless rumor? Miss Sue, Miss Sue. One after another, microphones were poked in front of Su Yiyan, wishing that they could poke directly into her mouth and magnify all the words in her heart in front of the public. Su Yiyan's brows furrowed slightly. Her expression was a little unsightly. You've got the wrong person. I'm not a celebrity, so I'm not obligated to answer your questions. I'm going into work, please step aside. The people around her obviously didn't expect Su Yiyan to say so. They were stunned for a moment, but still didn't want to leave. They still surrounded her and didn't step back. Xia Junsheng just entered the hall on the first floor. When he was about to go upstairs, he heard someone exclaim, Boss Su is at the door of our company. She's surrounded by a lot of unscrupulous reporters. She can't get in. Xia Junsheng was shocked. He turned his head and saw the movement outside through the glass door. He hurriedly called the security guards to help. Step aside, please step aside. Xia Junsheng followed several security guards and quickly pushed the reporters away. He came to Su Yiyan and wanted to escort her out of the encirclement of the group of people. When the crowd saw that Su Yiyan was about to leave, they woke up from a dream. How could they let her go? They began to squeeze in, not forgetting to ask loudly. Chapter 487. Miss Su, are you keeping quiet because you have a guilty conscience? Miss Su, rumor has it that you hooked up with your current husband before breaking off the engagement with your ex-fiancé. You and your ex-fiancé both cheated on each other one after the other. Is that true? Miss Su, an insider revealed that your current husband has been disabled for many years because of an accident and can't stand up anymore. Is that true? Miss Su, one question after another was thrown at Su Yiyan. Looking at the tall and strong security guards in front of them, many people's hearts skipped a beat. In fact, they didn't expect Su Yiyan to give any response. However, because of this, some people had already begun to calculate that if Su Yiyan left like this, they could also fabricate a piece of news that said, the current person in charge of Dongqing City avoided talking about the affair in the face of the author's questions and was suspected of having a guilty conscience. There were many such specious news articles. As long as the word suspected was attached, it wouldn't be considered as a rumor. Su Yiyan was too lazy to answer the questions at first, but then she heard them mention Hu Chenhuan. She stopped in her tracks and her eyes suddenly became fierce. What did you just say? The crowd didn't expect Su Yiyan to suddenly stop and take the initiative to ask them what they had just said. They were stunned for a few seconds before they reacted. Miss Su, an insider revealed that your current husband didn't get injured recently, but has an old injury for many years. That is to say, your husband is disabled. Su Yiyan didn't wait for the person to finish and interrupted him first. My husband's leg is indeed an old injury. As soon as Su Yiyan said this, everyone present couldn't help but gasp. Even Xia Junsheng couldn't help but frown, intuitively feeling that things were going to be bad. However, before the reporters could ask again, Su Yiyan had already taken the lead and said, the reason why it's an old injury is that he unfortunately met a Mongolian doctor a few years ago, and the treatment was delayed. Now that he has found a doctor who can really cure him, naturally, it will be better. Miss Su, do you mean that your husband's legs can be cured? Su Yiyan could already tell that this reporter was not friendly, so his reply became even more impolite. The relevant news is still on my public account. If this reporter has eyes, he should be able to see it. The reporter choked and muttered with some dissatisfaction, how can an old injury be cured just because you say so? I'm afraid he's treating everyone as fools. Are you questioning me? Su Yiyan glanced at him coldly and chuckled. Whatever you say. I just hope that you won't be too surprised when you see him walking as if he's flying. When the reporter heard this, he opened his mouth and wanted to say something, but he seemed to have thought of something and did not dare to act rashly. Seeing this, the other reporters stepped forward and pushed that person away, trying to dig out more news from Su Yiyan. "Miss Su, there's a rumor that you're with your current husband before your engagement with family Hua was annulled. You and family Hua are actually having an affair. Is this true? When did you and your husband get to know each other and confirm your relationship?" "My husband and I only got together after my engagement with Hua Xiaofeng was annulled. If I was already with him before then, wouldn't it be fine if Hua Xiaofeng and I peacefully annulled our engagement? Why did he have to make such a scene at someone's father's wedding and let everyone know that there's such a piece of trash in his family?" Chapter 488. The reporter choked, then continued to ask, "Then when did you two get together?" "We did get together not long after our engagement was annulled. To be precise, they got together right after their engagement was annulled. However, if this were to be revealed, it would cause a lot of criticism." She knew very well that she gradually fell in love with Hua Chenhuan after her death in her previous life. Before that, there was nothing out of the ordinary between them. However, the group of people in front of her didn't know, and neither did the others. Hua Xiaofeng brought his little girlfriend to his father's birthday banquet and publicly asked me to annul my engagement with him to fulfill their wish. During the argument, I was pushed down the stairs by the woman and fell into a coma. My husband couldn't stand it and asked someone to help my parents send me to the hospital. That was when we started to interact. No one could find fault with Su Yiyan's words. The two of them only started to interact officially after their engagement was annulled. Once the engagement was annulled, she would be a free woman. Who she interacted with, who she was with, and whose wife she became, it would no longer have anything to do with the previous one. "Then are you on good terms with your husband now?" "My relationship with my husband isn't good. Who else can I be on good terms with?" "You?" Pfft. The reporter who asked the question had interviewed many artists in the industry before. These artists didn't dare to offend the reporter for fear that the reporter would write nonsense, so they usually answered the reporter's questions politely and tactfully. This was the first time he met someone who was so stubborn. His face immediately turned red and he complained in a low voice, "Do you have to be so rude? Don't get angry out of embarrassment." Su Yiyan sneered and didn't give in to him. In front of the camera, "Please take responsibility for your words. I can sue you anytime." The reporter's face darkened. Although he was indignant, he still shut his mouth in fear. He might not care about what other people said, but when Su Yiyan said it, he felt an inexplicable sense of panic. After all, President Su sued a bunch of internet celebrities 2 days ago and directly overturned the management company that dared to mess with her artist. Why else would it be said that it was better to offend a villain than a woman? If a woman was really ruthless, there was nothing a man could do. Another reporter took the opportunity to ask, "What kind of person do you think your husband is?" Su Yiyan said without thinking, "Naturally, he's the best man in the world." "I can see that you love your husband very much." Su Yiyan said in her heart, "Of course, if I don't love my husband, do you think I would love those wild men I'm not familiar with outside?" Just as the words were about to come out of his mouth, he thought about it again. This report was very likely to be seen by his sensitive and jealous lover. Su Yiyan's eyes turned slightly, and he immediately changed his mind. "You might not understand even if I tell you about it." All the reporters? What the hell? Was she mocking them for being single? Let's put it this way. Have you ever chased after a celebrity? Everyone was stunned when they heard this. A few of the younger male and female reporters were a little embarrassed. Su Yiyan looked at them and understood. She smiled and said, "If you were to be with your idol or your goddess, can you imagine how it would feel? Of course, they would be so happy that they would want to fly and give their hearts to him or her." Su Yiyan saw the changes in their expressions. She raised the corners of her eyes and said sweetly, "That's how I feel when I'm with him." Chapter 489. What was supposed to be a gathering of reporters suddenly turned into a large-scale public display of affection and abuse of single dogs. The single reporters were speechless. F***ck, she was showing off. She was definitely showing off. I don't just love him, I also worship him. He's my god. He's not someone ordinary people like you can compare to. Su Yiyan glanced at the reporters surrounding her and sneered. She quickly followed Xia Junsheng into the company. By the time the reporters reacted, Su Yiyan had already disappeared. Only the men and women who felt like they had been attacked countless times stood there, gnashing their teeth. Xia Junsheng watched the commotion from the side and silently wiped the cold sweat on his head. It was too dangerous just now. I was almost scared to death when I heard what you said to them. Any random clip could become the target of some keyboard warrior's attacks. It really scared him so much that his heartbeat went out of order for a few seconds. Su Yiyan glanced at him and chuckled. What are you afraid of? Don't forget, I'm the boss, not an artist. Although the boss was also the face of the company, artists had their own persona, and the boss naturally had his own persona. Some words were disrespectful to the seniors, immoral and arrogant, but the boss was straightforward, domineering, and daring to love and hate. Xia Junsheng was amused by her words. You still know that you're the boss? I thought you'd forget who you are when you heard those reporters talk about your husband. Su Yiyan's face turned red for 2 or 3 seconds, then it turned into an unconcealable pride. Ask someone to keep an eye on the movements of public opinion online. Once you find that someone is taking the opportunity to create trouble, don't be polite to them. Sue them at any time. Xia Junsheng was speechless. A woman in love was very scary when she was angry. As soon as Su Yiyan stepped into the company, the incident at the entrance of the company spread to Hu Chenhuan. Young master, young madam went to work this morning and encountered some trouble. Encountered some trouble? Hu Chenhuan's eyes turned cold. Did she suffer a loss? No, the ones who suffered a loss were those reporters. Young madam strongly defended you and your marriage. Defended? Hu Chenhuan's eyes lit up. Is there a video of the scene? Yes. The bodyguard who was in charge of secretly following Su Yiyan today silently took out the video he had recorded and handed it to Hu Chenhuan. Ever since he was assigned to follow young madam and secretly protect her safety, Big Brother bodyguard felt that he was becoming more and more like a stalker and a sightseeing fan. Having a boss who was infatuated with his wife was really scary. Hu Chenhuan didn't know what the bodyguard was thinking. After she saw the whole thing, especially when she saw Su Yiyan say that he was her god in front of so many people, her eyes were so gentle that they could drip water. The bodyguard felt jealous as he watched from the side. He envied his boss for having a wife who liked him so much and protected him so much. It was because he was envious that he tried to remind him, young master, there's nothing wrong with young madam's actions. I'm just worried that some people might take these things out of context and deliberately slander you and young madam. Upon hearing his words, Hu Chenhuan's gentle gaze instantly turned as sharp as a knife. Find a few celebrities or VIPs from Yanyan's company and post this video. Also, find out which newspaper companies the reporters who asked Yanyan questions came from. Chapter 490. Instead of letting people take things out of context and smear her, it was better to seize the opportunity and take the initiative to expose these things first, so that they couldn't make it up. Hearing this, the bodyguard asked cautiously, what will you do after you find out? Hu Chenhuan didn't say anything and just looked up at him. The tall and strong bodyguard, who was at least 1.8 meters tall, felt a chill on his back and said stiffly, I see. I'll arrange it now. As soon as he walked to the gate, he heard Hu Chenhuan's flat voice behind him. This month's bonus will be doubled. The bodyguard suddenly stopped as if he was fleeing from a disaster. The little panic in his heart was instantly corroded by the money bomb. In fact, it was quite good to protect the young madam. He casually took a small video back and the bonus was doubled. The bodyguard thought, this kind of thing can happen a few more times. The bodyguard had to do his best to get his bonus at the end of the month. He immediately contacted Xia Junsheng and asked him to help recommend a female celebrity under the company's artist. It would be a free wave of popularity for the other party. Xia Junsheng thought about it and finally decided on a female celebrity under Xue Caiwei's name. The game that Xue Caiwei and Luo Weibing were endorsing was about to be released. Luo Weibing had just been involved in a scandal with Su Yiyan 2 days ago. His fans were obviously not suitable, but Xue Caiwei's side didn't matter. Soon, the female celebrity cooperated with Xia Junsheng and released the video. She claimed that she knew that Xue Caiwei had an event today, so she squatted outside the company and prepared to take a few photos of her at work before she went to work. However, instead of her goddess, she accidentally bumped into the scene where her goddess boss was surrounded by a group of reporters. After that, she praised Su Yiyan with this video and tried to please the new boss in all aspects for her goddess, so that she could treat their goddess well and give her more resources that were worthy of her. Many of Xue Caiwei's fans originally paid attention to this female celebrity. In addition, most of the marketing accounts that like to dig for news would pay attention to this kind of famous celebrity's fans. As soon as this video was released, many people saw it at once. After watching the video, I'm confused. Didn't President Su explain the relevant questions on the internet? These people are still asking over and over again. What are you trying to do? Of course, they want to annoy President Su. If he says something shocking in a fit of anger, wouldn't they have something to write about? I'm really annoyed by these annoying reporters. Although I understand their job, it's obvious that they don't want to talk to them, but they keep coming over like flies and won't let them go. It's really annoying. President Su, you're wrong. Even if you're a celebrity, you have no obligation to answer these people's rubbish questions. Each and every one of them was really annoying. They were like flies that couldn't be chased away, and it was disgusting to slap them to death. In the past, my brother encountered such a situation. They kept pestering you to answer their questions. If you didn't answer, they would say that you were arrogant, uncooperative, and impolite. Then, it would escalate to a question of your character. After he answered, he started to be aggressive again. He looked as if he wanted to suck the artist's blood dry. Super scary. Some fans of other artists, because of the reporter's familiar questioning routine, began to sympathize with Su Yiyan's experience. As for the reporters who were chasing Su Yiyan aggressively, they inevitably became the target of the angry fans. Chapter 491. Just as the bodyguard had expected, these people were used to being praised. Now that they had suffered a loss because of Su Yiyan, they naturally wouldn't let it go. When they went back, they prepared to use the existing information to fabricate some specious news about Su Yiyan. Anyway, the entertainment industry was like this. Although rumors might not necessarily become true, it could at least make the public's first impression of some people bad. Because of this, the artists in the entertainment industry were so afraid of them. They received too much attention and were destined to attract some jealousy. At this time, if there was a shitstirrer stirring up trouble in the industry, even if it couldn't hurt them, it would be enough to disgust them. These people thought that Su Yiyan was like this, but they didn't expect her to be so confident and unwilling to suffer a loss. After insulting them in front of their faces, she took the first step and posted the full version of the video on the internet. They didn't even have the chance to fabricate news. These people were sullen and angry. They secretly planned to get back at her sooner or later. However, they didn't expect that after they asked those questions, they would no longer have the chance to appear in the entertainment industry. In addition to being angry at these reporters, some people were very interested in the history of Su Yiyan and Hua Qinhuan's relationship. So it's because of this that they got together. So, strictly speaking, that ex-fiancé is a matchmaker? I wonder if he's angry to death now. Of course, Hua Xiaofeng was about to die of anger. Although he and Su Yiyan had broken off the engagement, in his heart, there was still a subtle feeling. He felt that he couldn't let another man take advantage of the woman he didn't want. Not to mention that this man was his uncle, who he disliked the most. She was obviously a useless person who couldn't do anything. How could anyone like her? Hua Xiaofeng stared at Su Yiyan's unrestrained and flamboyant appearance in the video. He watched her seriously talk about her feelings for Hua Chenhuan. His eyes were about to bleed. Especially when he heard Su Yiyan say that Hua Chenhuan might be able to stand up again soon. Hua Xiaofeng sneered, "Hee, stand up again? How is that possible? It's fake, it's definitely fake. That useless person can only be a cripple for life, for life." Although some people believed Su Yiyan's words, there were also some who didn't. "You fell in love with him just because he sent you to the hospital? Isn't this a little too exaggerated? It's definitely not because of that. A good fiancé suddenly cheating, and you can even say that he's a mistress. Then, he brought his mistress to break off the engagement with you in public. You can imagine how much damage it would be to a girl." At this time, if a gentle and considerate man came to ask about your well-being and care, it wouldn't take long for you to fall for him. There's a saying that the best way to heal a broken relationship is to start a new one. If that's the case, does that mean President Su's current husband is taking advantage of the situation? What the hell is this about taking advantage of the situation? The scumbag had already cheated on his mistress, and he was still trying to force his fiancée to break off the engagement. Was President Su going to stay chaste for the rest of her life after being cheated on? What kind of feudal thinking is this? Do you really think that you're an ancient emperor, and all the girls in the world have to revolve around you? I still think that this woman's words are too exaggerated. Just because someone saved you and comforted you when you were down, you treat him as your true love and God. If this isn't an act, they must have hooked up a long time ago. Chapter 492. Watch your mouth. Aren't you just jealous of President Su and her husband's immortal love? The commenter above probably hasn't been in a relationship before. Girls tend to be especially vulnerable after they get hurt. If a man treats you sincerely at a time like this, there are usually two situations. One is that he's afraid of his previous relationship and doesn't dare to give up his feelings easily. The other is that he's quickly fallen into a new relationship. President Su is obviously the second type, so there's nothing strange about this. Even though that was the case, some people still didn't understand. Some people even thought that if they followed this explanation, Su Yiyan and Hua Chenhuan's marriage was precipitated by Su Yiyan's impulse. Impulse was called impulse because it was temporary and couldn't last forever. Therefore, a marriage like this wasn't strong and it was very likely that it would lead to a divorce. Only Su Yiyan knew that when she lost everything and her entire world became dark and hopeless, he would always protect her. Even after she died, he still gave up everything for her and avenged her family at all costs. After he succeeded, he didn't hesitate to commit suicide for her. It was only half a year, but it felt like a lifetime to her. How could she not be attracted to him after seeing all this with her own eyes? She was human and she had a heart. No matter how cold the ice was, it would be melted by him. How could her heart not be moved by him? With everyone's interruption, Su Yiyan and Hua Xiaofeng's broken engagement was dug up and discussed again. I've heard about the incident between Miss Su and family Hua's eldest young master. After that incident, many people laughed at the Su family behind their backs. They thought that Miss Su was useless and couldn't keep her man. She deserved to have her fiancé snatched away and become a mistress. Oh my God. Is this for real? There are still people with such thoughts. It's clearly the man's fault, so why are they laughing at the girl? What kind of twisted view is this? This insider wasn't lying. Men and women were equal, but the world's prejudice against women had always been there. Although the Su family was not as rich as the family Hua, they were a harmonious family. Mr. Su could be considered a weirdo in the upper class. As his career grew, he never despised his wife who had gone through hardships. Instead, he doted on her more and more. He was many times better than those playboys who kept the red flag at home as soon as they became rich and had colorful flags fluttering outside the house. Even for Mrs. Hua of Hua Chihan's family, the two of them looked very harmonious on the outside, but when they returned home, they would be bossed around by her husband and ordered around. Before she got married, she was a pampered daughter of her family. After she got married, she was doted on by her husband. She also had a pair of sensible and lovely children. Qing Shuqi naturally attracted the envy and jealousy of many upper-class madams. Everything had been smooth sailing for half of his life, and the only thing that went wrong was his daughter's marriage. Even if many people did not dare to say it in front of them, they would definitely make a lot of sarcastic remarks behind their backs. This is still considered good. Later, when Miss Su married family Hua's youngest uncle, they were the ones who made nasty remarks. They said that Miss Su's reputation was ruined and she couldn't get married. She gave up on herself and married a good-for-nothing. Even Miss Su's parents were said to have sold their daughter for the sake of reputation. *CK, I thought that those low-life keyboard warriors on the internet had bad mouths. Why are these successful people? Chapter 493. Jealousy doesn't matter if you're successful or not. It only matters if the other person is living a better life than you. Whether it's happiness or suffering, it's all about comparison. Upstairs, are those who know the truth still there? Hurry up and continue. What happened after that? Ha, what else can happen? In order to stand up for his wife, Uncle Family Hua held the wedding in a private group. There was a beautiful manor on the island, and beautiful blue roses were planted in the courtyard because Sister Su liked blue roses. After the wedding, the manor and the island were given to Sister Su as a wedding gift. Needless to say, many of the people who were still complaining online at this time were young single dogs. Boys and girls of this age were all good, and they more or less still had a trace of fantasy about love. Ah, this is true love. In the ancient novels, I'm willing to marry you with a large sum of money. It's actually true. Mommy, I believe in love again. Imagining family Hua's uncle couldn't bear to drag his beloved down because of health reasons. Therefore, he silently watched his beloved woman marry someone else and planned to secretly protect her for the rest of her life. In the end, he didn't expect that his beloved woman would meet a scumbag. The uncle flew into a rage and spent all his savings to marry her for his beloved woman. Ha, this plot. Come. I'll give you the pen. You write it. Affectionate mysterious overlord ex-scumbag queen. He's good-looking, gentle, considerate, rich, and dotes on his wife. I'm eating this pear. What are you guys waiting for? Start writing. It's a pity that President Su's husband only has one photo. President Su rarely appears except for the previous video of her tearing scumbags apart. Otherwise, we can also produce our own food. Needless to say, sometimes, having a hole in one's imagination wasn't a bad thing. If one wasn't careful, they might find out the truth. Hua Chenhuan looked at the passers-by who had nothing better to do on the internet. They had already started to write about him and Su Yiyan. The corners of his lips curled up slightly. Then, he thought of the criticism that Su Yiyan had received when he married her, and his face darkened. This was the scene that Zhua Yanbai saw when he entered the room. His heart skipped a beat. He straightened his clothes and walked to Hua Chenhuan's side. Young master, the 40th anniversary of the founding of the Hua Corporation is in a few days. You didn't attend in the past, but this year. Moreover, Hua Chenhuan was also a member of the family Hua. Although old master Hua had given the Hua Corporation to Hua Qihan, he had not mistreated his son and had still given him enough shares in the company. Therefore, Hua Chenhuan was still a shareholder of the Hua Corporation. However, as a shareholder, although he held 20% of the Hua Corporation's shares, he rarely interfered with the Hua Corporation's affairs. In the past few years, he had barely shown his face at the Hua Corporation. Perhaps many people had forgotten that he was a shareholder with no presence. Hua Corporation's 40th anniversary celebration? Hua Chenhuan's hands, which were hanging on her lap, subconsciously tightened. A part of my shares was transferred to Yan Yan, right? Yes, you transferred 100% to young madam. Hua Chenhuan smiled. This was the first time that Zhuai Yanbai had seen Hu Chenhuan smile so happily other than when the two of them had gotten married. But at that time, he had only felt warmth from her smile. Now, her smile made him shudder. Go. What? Yan Yan and I will be there for this year's celebration. Zhuai Yanbai's heart skipped a beat. He suddenly understood something and smiled faintly. I understand. I will arrange everything in advance. Okay. Chapter 494. As soon as Su Yiyan got home from work, he saw that the video of him scolding the reporters had been posted online. Unexpectedly, the person who posted the video was not one of the reporters he had scolded, but one of Xueziwei's fans. Su Yiyan only needed to ponder for a moment before she knew who was behind this. He had thought that Hu Chenhuan might have seen the video, but now that it had really happened, Su Yiyan was still a little embarrassed. He had confessed in front of so many people. This was really declaring his sovereignty to the whole world. Su Yiyan's face was red as he thought about how to face Hu Chenhuan when he got home. Unexpectedly, a big problem approached him first. Brother? Why are you calling me now? What's the matter? Can't I call you if there's nothing? On the other end of the phone, Su Yuxuan snorted and muttered, sure enough, after getting married, Dad, and my status has dropped. We're no longer the best man in your heart. How can you still think of us at a time like this? Although Su Yuxuan's nagging was loud, Su Yiyan could still hear most of it. He immediately guessed why his brother was calling him at this time. He was embarrassed, helpless, and guilty. Cough. Brother, you misunderstood. I didn't mean it that way. If you didn't mean it that way, then what did you mean? I haven't talked to you for a long time. When you called me out of the blue, I thought something had happened. I was worried. It was fine if Su Yiyan did not say this, but when he said this, Su Yuxuan could not help but snort again. So you know that we haven't seen each other for a long time. Have we talked? As expected, you don't need to kiss people when you have a husband. I saw the video just now. You. Su Yuxuan was getting angrier. It was bad enough that his cabbage had been taken by a pig, but now he was being brainwashed by a pig. He almost forgot that he was a cabbage. He was so angry that he exploded. As soon as Su Yiyan heard his words, he knew that today's hurdle would not be easy to overcome. He took a deep breath and said, Brother, don't be angry. At that time, I was pestered by those reporters for too long. I was so angry that I lost my head. It's not like you don't know that those reporters are completely unreasonable in order to attract attention. They only want to dig out big news from my mouth. If I didn't exaggerate a little, how could I have shaken them and escaped from their clutches? Su Yuxuan's expression softened after hearing her words, and his tone softened. Those reporters were indeed a little too much, but you shouldn't have, I was wrong. As soon as Su Yiyan heard his tone soften, she decisively admitted her mistake. At that time, I was so angry that I lost my head. What I want is for him to be the best husband in the world. You and Daddy are the same. You're the best brother and father in the world. Both of you are unique. Brother, don't blindly compare. It's not the same. Not far away, Mr. Su, who was silently accompanying his wife to arrange flowers, was actually listening to their conversation. When he heard this, although his expression improved a lot, he still let out a cold snort arrogantly. Qing Xiuqin, who was sitting opposite him, frowned and said as if he sensed something, why do these words sound so familiar? Su Yuxuan did not hear her words. He also snorted and said reluctantly, that's more like it. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief and quickly changed the topic. By the way, the food that I asked people to send you, are you used to it? Chapter 495. As expected, Su Yuxuan's attention was diverted. It's not bad. Mom likes the dumplings, Dad likes the egg pancakes, and I like the steamed buns. Su Yiyan. You have such different tastes. You didn't quarrel, did you? We didn't quarrel. We just said a few words calmly, and then Dad was asked to sleep in the study by Mom. Dad was asked to sleep in the study. How could that be calmed? It seemed that she had to do some research before sending them food next time. Otherwise, every time she sent them food, there would be a revolution in the family. In the end, the unlucky ones would be her brother and father. Su Yuxuan and Su Yuxuan, who lived at the bottom of the food chain. After sending her brother away, Su Yiyan staggered back home. As soon as she entered the door, she met Hua Chenhuan. Hua Chenhuan looked at her tired face and felt sorry for her. Tired? Is it because of what happened this morning? Su Yiyan walked up to him and plunged into his arms. She whined, "My brother called me just now." Hua Chenhuan pondered and immediately understood. Because of what happened this morning? Yes. Su Yiyan looked up at him. I was under a lot of pressure to confess to you for Curtain Group. So. Su Yiyan pouted. I want a reward. The corners of Hua Chenhuan's lips curled up slightly as he lowered his head to kiss her. Su Yiyan's eyebrows were curved. She felt sweet but a little lost. Hua Chenhuan also saw this and muttered in a hoarse voice, "Wait a few more minutes." What? Su Yiyan didn't hear clearly and turned to look at him in confusion. Nothing. Su Yiyan blinked and didn't think much. She got up and went to cook dinner for Hua Chenhuan. On the 1st of the next month, Fantasy Feast was released on time. The night before, the company's public account had already put up the purchase link. Su Yiyan initially thought that games were not a necessity in life. Moreover, as the world's first holographic game, their gaming chambers and gaming helmets were not cheap. She was afraid that it would take some time to warm up before it could explode. She didn't expect that she had underestimated the enthusiasm of gamers for the game. That night, the number of purchases of the two items reached an eye-catching peak. When the second game was officially released, the number of players who logged into the holographic world exceeded 7 digits in a few minutes. After an hour, it quickly reached 8 digits, and continued to soar at an extremely fast speed. Those who were not part of the industry who wanted to see this game make a fool of itself were a little confused. When they came back to their senses, they said that these people were really stupid and had a lot of money. They didn't even know if it was fake news deliberately made up by the merchants to increase sales. They deserved to be cheated. However, half an hour after the game was officially released, no one on the internet responded or even agreed with them. This made these people feel more and more certain that they were right. If it was true, how could these people hold back for so long and not share it with them? After another half an hour, there were still no players to share their anger and grievances of being cheated by the game company. These passers-by who were waiting for the news finally felt that something was amiss. The previous few game merchants who used holographic as a gimmick were scolded on the public platform in less than half an hour, let alone for a moment. What was going on with the game? It had been so long, but there was no news at all. Chapter 496. Fortunately, they didn't have to wonder for long before the first batch of players finally appeared. Whoa, what kind of game is this? The graphics are exquisite, the characters are exquisitely restored, and the most important thing is that there are so many people online at the same time, but the graphics don't fluctuate at all. No, I'm going home with my gaming capsule. See you guys later. Originally, I just wanted to try it out, but I didn't expect it to be real. To be able to play a holographic game in my lifetime, my life is worth it. In addition, the last wave of hatred, I only spent half the price to get the gaming capsule. Great. Upstairs, you're one of the 1,500 spots like my cousin, right? Damn, I just received a call from my cousin. He blatantly showed off to me that he was the lucky one in his life. Not only did he fail the test, he even got to buy a gaming capsule at half the price. I just checked the official website, the gaming capsules and gaming helmets are all sold out. We have to wait for at least another half a month for the next batch. Woo-woo, hee. I participated in the lucky draw because of our goddess Vivian's endorsement. Now I realize that the best thing I've done in my life is to become a fan of Vivian. Chasing after her makes me the lucky one. Fantasy Feast is so good. The 1,500 spots that they were talking about was another announcement made before the official account of a Fantasy Feast opened. This announcement said that 1,500 lucky audience members would be randomly selected from the comments to experience the holographic world for 1 hour. After the experience, if these lucky audience members had the relevant intention to purchase, they could choose one of the gaming capsules and gaming helmets with a 50% discount. When this benefit was released, it attracted a large wave of ghostwriters from other game companies. They accused them of being stingy and not generous at all. Not only did they give 1,500 spots, but they also gave a 50% discount for 1 hour of experience. Regarding this, the official lady was also very firm. She directly replied to the comment that scolded them for being poor. She admitted that their company was indeed quite poor. They had spent all their money on game development and really did not have any extra food. Since everyone was so generous, why not take out some money to reward their employees who had worked so hard for the company? How could they be so self-righteous when they were free? Shameless people were invincible. This one sentence made the ghostwriters speechless. It also made Shui Kaiwei and Luo Weibing's fans like this official sister who was used to speaking the truth. Due to their support for their idols, most of the fans of the two artists participated in the lucky draw. As a result, more than half of the 1,500 slots were fans of the two artists. It could be said that the goodies were kept within the family. Those passers-by who were still watching at the beginning were stunned when they saw the replies. They finally reacted after a while and asked with uncertainty. So, it's real? It's a holographic game? A while ago, everyone was guessing that those who bought the gaming capsules were fools with a lot of money. After realizing that they were cheated by the game manufacturer again, they shut themselves up. Now that I think about it, I'm really King stupid. If they were cheated, how could they be so quiet? They must be lying in the gaming chamber and playing games, unwilling to come out. This comment almost hit the bullseye, waking everyone up from their delusions of self-deception. T.S. How of them. Indeed, the onlooker sees more clearly than the person involved. These people were clearly having too much fun in the game to think about home. Chapter 497. Only those who had been selected for the early stage of the game were allowed to experience the game for free for 1 hour. When the time was up, they would naturally have to come out. That was why they came out in advance to take a breather. Now, they were all holding their half-price game capsules and going home in high spirits. It was simply enviable. Holographic games are really coming out? I can't believe I'm seeing a holographic game in my lifetime. Buy it. After confirming the authenticity of the news, a large wave of game fans rushed to the official website to buy the game capsules. However, these people soon realized that they were too real. The developers of Illusory Feast accurately explained, "Yesterday, you ignored me. Today, I'll make you unworthy of me." The first batch of game capsules and helmets had already been sold out before these people could react. You want one? Sure, you can only get it after half a month, and the quantity is limited. Half a month was not long, but it was not short either. However, for these hardcore game fans who knew that the holographic game was right in front of them and that others were playing it, but they had to wait half a month before they could enter and play with them, it was longer than a lifetime. Countless people rushed to the official account and begged, hoping to shorten the pre-sale time and release the second batch as soon as possible. In response, the official sister proudly said that the quality of their company's products had been strictly tested, so it would naturally take a long time for them to leave the factory. They asked the players to wait patiently. No matter how others begged, they only said one sentence. They would not change their plans for these customers who didn't believe in them before. They would not let their programmers work overtime. That was how willful they were. The pitiful customers begged bitterly but to no avail. They were so regretful that their intestines turned green. They regretted that they had listened to the instigation of those who were anxious to stir up trouble and only watched from the sidelines. Now that they had finished watching and the game was sold out, where were they going to go to buy more? In the end, they could only helplessly set their sights on those who had already bought them and began to beg those who had bought more to resell them for a second time at a high price. However, in a situation where they were not sure if it was reliable, very few people would buy a lot of these things at once. Most of the people who would buy one or two extra sets were the fans of the two endorsers. They were worried that if their idol or goddess endorsed a game for the first time, the sales would be too bad and they would be ridiculed by the anti-fans. Therefore, they tightened their belts and bought a few extra sets. Now, there were more and more posts on the forum asking for exclusive rights, and the price was getting higher and higher. If these people casually sold one, not only would they not have to tighten their belts to support their idols, but they could also make a fortune from this. Su Yiyan looked at the increasing number of subscriptions on the official website and the real-time number of online users that Gu Xiaoyang had specially sent to Hu Qinhuan. Even if the money hadn't entered her pocket yet, she could imagine how many zeros there would be behind the number. One had to know that it wasn't just the problem of the game cabin and the game helmet. In this game, although some of the clothes, seeds, and furniture had to be obtained by completing missions, most of them had to be bought with money. In the previous non-holographic games, so many people had spent a lot of money to buy good clothes for their sons and daughters. Now that they were in a place with beautiful mountains and clear waters, they had their own home, and there were so many beautiful clothes that couldn't be seen in real life. Naturally, they would buy. Chapter 498. Su Yiyan was happy that the game was so popular, but at the same time, she was a little worried. This gaming chamber is selling so well, will someone pirate it? No, they won't. Su Yiyan looked at him doubtfully, not quite understanding why he was so sure. Hu Qinhuan smiled slowly and pointed to the manual that came with the gaming chamber and gaming helmet. There was an additional clause at the bottom of each manual: this product has a copyright protection system. The buyer of the product is not allowed to maliciously destroy the product or do research on the related program. Otherwise, the product will enter automatic locking mode or even self-destruct. If this clause is not followed, the buyer will be responsible for all the consequences. This clause, in a way, was a blatant warning to the buyer not to disassemble the gaming chamber for research. Otherwise, the consequences would be at their own risk. It sounded a little overbearing and even violated the consumer's rights. After all, the buyer had spent the money to buy the item, and they could disassemble it however they wanted. However, many people forgot that they were only selling the gaming chamber to them to let them experience holographic games, and not to sell the technology of the gaming chamber to them. As a player, why didn't you protect your gaming chamber and use it to happily play your games, buy your clothes, and build your house? Why did you disassemble it? Wasn't it just to plagiarize the technology inside? If someone really used this to cause trouble with them, they would have bad intentions. Therefore, for those individuals who bought the gaming chamber on the spot, most of the salespeople had warned them in advance. The sales page on the official website also highlighted this clause. Most people still bought it without hesitation. As for those who were hesitant, they actually didn't need one or two orders from them. After Su Yiyan saw this clause, the first thing that came to her mind was, is this the same as Yuanyuan's anti-theft system? Yes. No wonder. Su Yiyan breathed a sigh of relief and looked at the skyrocketing figures in the background like a little money grubber. She smiled and said, "Then I'm relieved." Hu Qinhuan was amused by her. "You're happy with this little bit of money? There will be more and more in the future." Speaking of which, the gaming chamber was not the main source of income. The real source of income was the various in-game purchases. This game was like a hen that could lay eggs. There was no need to worry that it would not be able to lay more and more golden eggs within a year or two. Su Yiyan's face lit up with joy, but she seemed to have thought of something and frowned. What happened? That's a lot of money, but it might not be enough. Not enough? Didn't you say you wanted to take back the Hua Corporation? It was the Hua Corporation after all. A starving camel was still bigger than a horse. If they really wanted to forcefully take it back, they would need a lot of money. A smile flashed across Hua Chenhuan's eyes. There's no need for such trouble. Hua Chenhuan didn't answer the question directly. Instead, she said something else. This Friday is the 40th anniversary of the founding of the Hua Corporation. Come with me. I'm going too. Su Yiyan looked surprised. Yes, I transferred half of the Hua Corporation's shares to you before. You're now a shareholder of the Hua Corporation. Naturally, you can go. Su Yiyan was stunned. Only then did she remember that there was indeed such a thing. Friday morning or afternoon? Afternoon. Okay then. Come to the store to pick me up then. Hua Chenhuan's eyes flashed slightly. She replied in a low voice, okay. Chapter 499. During the Hua Corporation's 40th anniversary celebration, Su Yiyan gave the employees of the medicinal cuisine restaurant a day off. She went to work in Dongqing City early in the morning and prepared to leave after lunch. The anniversary celebration started at 2:30 p.m. It would take some time to get to the Hua Corporation from Dongqing City, so it would be just in time after lunch. However, to Su Yiyan's surprise, the person who came to pick her up was not Hua Chenhuan, but Gu Xiaoyang. Where is Chenhuan? Gu Xiaoyang turned his head and glanced at her with a smile on his face. Young master happened to have a visitor before he went out, so he might be late. He asked me to pick you up first and meet you at the venue later. Guest? What guest? It was a sensitive day, so Su Yiyan's heart skipped a beat when she heard that there was a guest at home. Why did he have to come to her house today? Was he trying to stall for time? It's an old friend of old master's. He watched young master grow up. He might be attending with young master later. You just have to wait patiently for young master to come to you. Don't worry. Oh. Su Yiyan frowned. Although it was a little strange, she did not ask further. She nodded and accepted his explanation. Since she left early, Su Yiyan arrived about 10 minutes before the ceremony started. However, most of the internal employees of the Hua Corporation had already arrived and were waiting for the senior executives and business partners. Su Yiyan had just gotten out of the car when she was keenly aware of the gazes that were directed at her from all directions. Strictly speaking, although she was not a real senior executive of the Hua Corporation, she had appeared in the entertainment circle a few times because of several artistes in the company. She was even more famous than the average second-tier or third-tier artistes. Many people in the Hua Corporation were surprised by her appearance. Isn't that President Su from Dongqing City? Why is she here? Only a few important business partners of the company were invited to today's celebration, right? Does our company have any major cooperation with Dongqing City? What cooperation? Have you forgotten who she is? She is now President Hua's sister-in-law and the aunt of team leader Hua. Isn't it normal for her to attend the Hua Corporation's anniversary celebration? I heard that President Hua also has a seat on the company's board of directors, but he has never attended the company's anniversary celebration or the shareholders' meeting. I don't know if he will attend today, or if President Su will attend in his place. Never attended? I heard that President Hua is crippled. Is that true? Have any of you seen him before? No. I've been in the company for a few years, but I've never seen President Hua. It's said that he rarely goes out after his legs were crippled in an accident. He hasn't come to our company even once. If that's true, then his legs. A group of people gathered together and whispered to each other. They were discussing why Su Yiyan was here and whether or not Hua Chenhuan would appear in a while. Although Su Yiyan couldn't hear what they were talking about, she knew what they were curious about and didn't pay much attention to it. Although she didn't know why Hua Chenhuan had called her here, she could imagine what kind of chaos it would cause if Hua Chenhuan, who hadn't stepped foot in the Hua Corporation for so many years and had never interfered with any of the company's decisions, appeared here today. Su Yiyen looked at the time. There were less than 5 minutes left before the Hua Corporation's senior executives began to arrive. She didn't know if Hua Chenhuan could make it in time. Why are you here? Chapter 500. Su Yiyen was contemplating whether she should wait at the gate or go in and take a seat when she heard a familiar, exasperated voice. She turned around and saw Hua Xiaofeng and his family coming out of the car. Hua Qihan walked in front, and Mrs. Hua supported Hua Xiaofeng as they walked behind. Hua Xiaofeng's hand was still in a cast. Why can't a shareholder who owns the company's shares come to the company's anniversary celebration? Su Yiyen glanced at the cast on Hua Xiaofeng's hand and chuckled. Some people have been jointly kicked out by the board of directors. How can they still have the nerve to show up here? Aren't they afraid of being laughed at? Su Yiyen would have been fine if she hadn't said that, but Hua Xiaofeng exploded on the spot. How did you know about this? Did you and Hua Chenhuan set this up? Did you and Hua Chenhuan deliberately set me up? As soon as Hua Xiaofeng said this, Hua Qihan and Hua Fureo's expressions changed. They looked at Su Yiyen with more curiosity. Ha ha ha, you think too highly of yourself, don't you? Haven't you heard that good news never leaves the house, but bad news spreads far and wide? The heir of a big company was jointly kicked out of his own company by the board of directors. Do you really think you can hide such a rare piece of news? You've already lost your face everywhere. You. Su Yiyen looked at Hua Xiaofeng's finger pointing at her, and her expression darkened. Also, is Chenhuan for you to call? How can you call your uncle by his name in such a nasty tone? Is this your family's upbringing? I've really learned it again. Hua Xiaofeng's face turned red after being rebuked by her. He was about to get angry when Hua Qihan interrupted him impatiently. Enough, don't you think it's embarrassing enough? Dad? Hua Xiaofeng looked at Hua Qihan in disbelief. He didn't expect his father, who had always been obedient to him, to become like this. Not only did she not help him, she even thought that he was an embarrassment. Ha Fureo's face turned even paler, and he subconsciously tightened his grip on his son. During this period of time, she had seen Hua Qihan's attitude towards the mother and son. Because of this, there was an indescribable fear in her heart. The once loving father, filial son, and harmonious husband and wife seemed to be collapsing bit by bit. As for her, there was nothing she could do. This was all because of the woman in front of him. If she hadn't made things so ugly with his family back then, if she hadn't married Hua Chenhuan back then, Su Yiyen didn't know that she had been implicated because of someone's selfish thinking. She was a little surprised when she heard Hua Qihan berate Hua Xiaofeng. One had to know that Hua Qihan was quite indulgent towards his only son. Otherwise, he would not have developed such a self-righteous and ruthless character. Now, did this mean that the father and son had a falling out? Hua Qihan glanced coldly at Hua Xiaofeng, and his heart was full of anger. He didn't want to bring Hua Xiaofeng over. The incident of him being kicked out was still a thorn in his heart. It was fine if Hua Xiaofeng didn't come along, but if he did, he would be ridiculed again. However, this mother and son pair didn't know any better. They cried and made a scene when he didn't bring them over. They were just short of hanging themselves. The doctors and nurses in the hospital rushed over to watch them and warned them to behave. Hua Qihan saw that if they continued to make a scene, they might be photographed and posted online. At that time, he would become a laughing stock again. He had no choice but to bring them over. Chapter 501. On the way here, Hua Qihan had repeatedly reminded the two of them to behave themselves today and not cause any more trouble for him. Otherwise, they shouldn't blame him for being rude to them. In the end, Hua Xiaofeng agreed verbally, but as soon as he got out of the car, he revealed his true colors. After being insulted by Su Yiyen, he couldn't wait to fight with him on the spot. Hua Qihan was so angry that his heart ached, and he increasingly despised this son of his. However, he wasn't in the mood to settle accounts with him. Instead, he was more concerned about, isn't this my sister-in-law? Why are you here? Did Chenhuan ask you to represent him? Could it be that she had designs on the whole corporation after seeing that Hua Xiaofeng had been kicked out of it? Su Yiyan saw the flash of fear in Hua Qihan's eyes. She raised her eyebrows slightly and said with a chuckle, "Before we got married, Chenhuan transferred 10% of the Hua Corporation's shares to me as a betrothal gift. I'm now considered one of the shareholders of the company. It's such a big event at the 40th anniversary. It would be rude if I didn't come to take a look, right?" As soon as Su Yiyan said this, several people couldn't help but gasp. When Su Yiyan had mocked Hua Xiaofeng just now, they had focused on the second half of her sentence. Only now did they recall that the first half of her sentence was that she had real shares in the company. How is it possible? How could he? Mrs. Hua's face was pale as she looked at Su Yiyan in disbelief. How is it impossible? My husband loves me and is willing to share everything with me so that I can be safe and blessed. Su Yiyan glanced at Hua Qihan and said meaningfully, "Just because some people can't do it doesn't mean that others can't." The faces of several people immediately became even uglier, especially Hua Xiaofeng. He was originally the most legitimate heir of the Hua Corporation. In his opinion, everything that Hua Qihan owned would be his sooner or later. But now, he had been chased out of the Hua Corporation. He didn't even have a single share of the Hua Corporation. He wasn't even worth as much as a woman he had once abandoned. However, Hua Qihan thought more. He felt that the reason why Hua Chenhuan gave the company's shares to Su Yiyan was not as simple as liking this woman. Could it be that when he saw that Hua Xiaofeng had been kicked out and that he himself was a cripple, no one would support him even if he entered the company, so he arranged for this woman to enter the company first and help him keep an eye on the company's every move so that he could make a follow-up plan? Or, did they deliberately send this woman into the company to disgust him and cause trouble for him? At the thought of this, Hua Chenhuan could not help but show a look of contempt in his eyes. Letting a woman find trouble with him, this Hua Chenhuan's legs were indeed crippled and her brain was deteriorating year by year. Everyone knows that Chenhuan dotes on you. It's not strange that he would give you the company's shares. After all, the shares were useless in his hands. With his current body, it's better for him to recuperate more. Although he did not say the word crippled, every word and sentence was a reminder to Su Yiyan that even if Hua Chenhuan held a part of the company's shares, she was just a transparent person with no real power here. The smile on Su Yiyan's face disappeared completely because of Hua Qihan's words. She narrowed her eyes and was about to say something when there was a loud noise outside. Hua Qihan was also stunned. He frowned and said unhappily, "Why is it so noisy? What happened?" As soon as he finished speaking, he heard another round of exclamations. Hua Qihan turned around with a cold face, but when he saw the figure walking in from outside, his eyes widened. He was shocked and terrified, and his face was full of disbelief. Chapter 502. Su Yiyan had imagined countless times what it would be like to meet Hua Chenhuan when he was standing. However, she had never imagined that it would be at such a time and place. The man who was walking slowly towards her was wearing a familiar black suit. He was tall and handsome, and his long, straight legs made people's eyes light up. However, the most eye-catching thing was the large bouquet of blue roses in his arms. Perhaps they had not expected someone to run in with a large bouquet of flowers at this time, or perhaps they had been shocked by the super handsome man who had suddenly run in. After a long while, someone broke the silence and whispered, "President Hua, it's President Hua." President Hua? Some of the new employees who had joined the company late and did not pay much attention to Su Yiyan glanced in Hua Xiaofeng's direction in confusion. They thought that they were talking about Hua Xiaofeng. When the others saw this, they explained in low voices, "It's not this President Hua. It's the former President Hua, President Hua's younger brother, President Hua's son, and President Su's husband." Everyone suddenly understood. "You mean this man is the rumored President Hua? Isn't President Hua's legs crippled?" How? How else could it be? He's cured. President Su said in front of the media that President Hua's legs would recover soon, but many people still doubted her. I didn't expect it to be true. Let's see who dares to use this to attack the two of them. Mama, my fans have made a perfect couple. Su Yiyan did not know that the people around them were excited that the gossip had come true. She stared at the person in front of her without blinking, as if she wanted to firmly engrave him in her heart. How did you? Hua Chenhuan did not let her finish. He smiled and stuffed the large bouquet of roses into Su Yiyan's arms. This is for you. Su Yiyan instinctively hugged it and said in a daze, these flowers are from our courtyard? Hua Chenhuan couldn't help laughing. Yes, after you went to work this morning, I picked them one by one. Upon hearing this, Su Yiyan blushed slightly. She thought of how Hua Chenhuan had woken up early this morning to pick and wrap flowers. She carefully removed the thorns on the flowers one by one. Her heart was as sweet as honey. Do you like it? Su Yiyan nodded, and Hua Chenhuan took her into his arms. Yen, I've been waiting for this for a long time. The man's voice was low and magnetic, with a hint of laziness and satisfaction. Su Yiyan felt a lump in his throat. He said in a muffled voice, I've also been waiting for this for a long time. Then, he seemed to have thought of something and snorted in dissatisfaction. What's wrong? Who made you unhappy? Hua Chenhuan said this, but his eyes swept across Hua Qihan's family not far away. He was inexplicably cold. Su Yiyan was not unhappy. She was just a little shocked and had not recovered for a while. In addition, there was a subtle sense of loss. I thought I would be the first person to see you stand up. I didn't expect that I would not be. When they were driving, Su Yiyan felt that Gu Xiaoyang was in a good mood today. She thought that the reason why he was in such a good mood was because Hua Chenhuan had decided to attend the so-called 40th anniversary celebration today. Now that she thought about it, it was more likely that he had already known that Hua Chenhuan's leg had recovered at that time. That was why he was so happy. She was the one who had helped treat it. In the end, everyone else knew, but she was the last to know. Sigh, she was so angry. She needed hugs and kisses from her husband. Chapter 503. Hua Chenhuan saw through Su Yiyan's thoughts at a glance. He leaned over and kissed her on the cheek, coaxing her in a low voice, It's my fault. I wanted to give you a surprise, but I didn't expect to make you unhappy. Su Yiyan was kissed by him in front of so many people, and her face turned red. She was shy and a little proud. Don't do it again. Okay. Impossible, this is impossible, how could he? Hua Xiaofeng's face was deathly pale, and his eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. His face was trembling as he spoke, as if he had seen something terrifying. Why is it impossible? Nephew? Your uncle's leg is healed. Aren't you happy for him? Su Yiyan broke free from Hua Chenhuan's arms and glanced at him with a sneer. Then, she looked at Hua Qihan and his wife with a wicked smile and asked, Brother, sister-in-law, Chenhuan's leg is healed. Aren't you happy for him? Hua Qihan's expression froze. Just as he was about to say something, he heard a hearty laugh behind him. I'm happy. If old Hua knew that his son had finally recovered after so many years and had a happy family of his own, he would be happier than anyone else. Hua Qihan turned his head and looked. After seeing the person who spoke, his face became more and more ugly. Uncle. Jiang. The person who could be called uncle by Hua Qihan was naturally not old. This old Master Jiang was from the same generation as old Master Hua. He could be considered a veteran who had helped old Master Hua take down the Hua Corporation back then. After old Master Hua's death, he retired to the second line like several other old directors. Unless it was an important matter, he rarely asked about the Hua Corporation. You. Why are you here? How can I not come to such a big event as the company's 40th anniversary? Old Master Jiang glanced at Hua Chenhuan with a smile and said meaningfully, "And if I didn't come, I'm afraid I wouldn't have seen such a rare miracle." Hua Qihan's face darkened again when he heard his words, and his hands that were hanging by his side subconsciously tightened. Mrs. Hua could tell something was wrong from the direction they came from and the timing. She asked tentatively, "Did you come here with Uncle?" Old Master Jiang smiled but didn't say anything. The couple had already guessed the answer, and their faces became more and more unsightly. This old man had always been neutral. Now that he said something like this, it was clear that he was already on Hua Chenhuan's side. Over the years, the relationship between the factions in the board of directors had been relatively tense. If these neutral factions were to join in at this time, the future situation would be even more complicated. Originally, Hua Qihan's dignity had been swept to the ground because of Hua Xiaofeng's incident. Those who supported him had also started to become impetuous. Now, Hua Chenhuan had appeared at this time, and in such a way, Hua Qihan's heart was filled with hatred, but he had to show a happy smile on his face. "When did Chenhuan get better? Why didn't you inform us beforehand? Could it be that the whole family has really become estranged because of sister-in-law and Xiaofeng?" When Su Yiyan heard his words, she instinctively felt nauseous. "Xian, why should I tell you? So that you can find ways to disgust us and interfere with Chenhuan's recovery? Huh? Big brother, you don't know? A few days ago, those gossipy B***stars spread the news that I cheated so much that I had no choice but to stand up and explain myself. You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.